Alright guys, this is going to be video number 2. This is just a little history regarding my first aortic dissections in 1995. My first aortic dissection was actually due to sex. I was 18 years old. I was living with my boyfriend at the time. I had been living away from my parents for about a year. It would have been my freshman year of college had I gone, but I had moved out of my parents' house and I had decided on a different route because I didn't really want to take on that debt, which is a joke I'll tell later. But anyway, so I'm living with him. We had sex. I had an orgasm. I ended up shooting up in bed with really sharp stabbing chest pain. Ended up walking into the restroom, felt a little sick, sat on the toilet, and as I'm sitting there, I realized I'm starting to lose the feeling in my toes, through the bottoms of my feet, and it actually extended all the way up until it hit my waist, and I was unable to move. I'm screaming for him, please call the ambulance. He ends up calling the ambulance. They end up showing up, and when they showed up, they asked what we were doing. I'm 18, I'm embarrassed. I'm not gonna be like, well, we're having sex, and then I have this chest pain. I was like, we were wrestling. Like, oh, well, you must have been hyperventilating. Then they gave me a paper bag like you would see in any TV show, and they're like, breathe in this. Breathe in as my legs start feeling a little better, fine. They had mentioned that there was some stomach flu running around, and we should be careful of it. I started throwing up about 30 minutes later, which makes sense with the stomach flu they had mentioned, but then the next afternoon, my whole neck had swollen up as well. Ended up going over to the clinic. The clinic ended up sending me to the hospital. I ended up going to UMass Worcester. They admitted me and ran a battery of tests for, I think it was about 10 days before I ended up in surgery. My blood pressure was actually 280 over 210 for a good portion of that, and they were trying to figure out what was going on. They didn't really see what was going on until they did the echocardiogram. Once they saw it on the echocardiogram, it was just all hell broke loose. They come running at me with IVs. They're shoving them in my neck. They're shoving them in my feet. I'm out very quickly after that because they ended up doing this in very emergency style. That was actually my thoracic aneurysm that went first. So that was October of 1995. I turned 19 on the operating room table. I went in as a pediatric patient. It came out as an adult patient in the same visit. After that, I ended up going home. I'm healing for a few weeks, and I'm having some difficulty walking. Things aren't really progressing the way I need to. I mentioned to a visiting nurse that I had blood in my poop, and she freaks out, and she's like, oh no, we can't have this. Sends me to the hospital again. Once I get there, they realize that yes, I have now had an abdominal aortic aneurysm as well. So they do that repair. That was actually the worst surgery up until that point in time because I had a giant cast on the side of my body. I had to relearn how to walk again. I lost full kidney failure. I was on dialysis for a little while, but this all had started happening in October. I had the surgery, I think, at the end of November. I was in the hospital until January when one of my kidneys kicked in, which got me off dialysis, which was good. And then I ended up being able to go home. Everything recovered beautifully. 1998, I'm driving down the Massachusetts Turnpike, and boom, chest pain again. I had sex with my boyfriend that morning. It was a different boyfriend at this point in time. We really don't know. But I ended up going to a hospital in Framingham, Massachusetts, and they ended up sending me by ambulance to Mass General Hospital where they did my aortic valve. That is the valve that I do need to get replaced now. Again, it's been put in since 1998. This is just a little of my experience at the very beginning of all of this. I just wanted to, again, just give you a little background into my experiences with aortic dissection and open heart surgery. And I'll tell the story about the other ones tomorrow. Thank you so much. And again, just hit subscribe. Obviously, nobody's watching this enough for me to make any money at this point in time, but any help that you can lend by watching it or passing it around to anyone, I just want to help people, honestly. I'll share my story and help as many people as I can, hopefully. And again, just hit subscribe, and thank you so much.